Hello guys and ladies, welcome back in this broadcasting. I'm gonna speak about important topic. This is one question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of the method and approach? The method and its definition. The method is the process that involves making assumptions, deriving prediction from them. As logical sequence, carrying out experiment or empirical observation based on those predictions. There is a way to do anything systematically using hypotheses. Method is to proceed from concrete to abstract process. The method requires intelligence, imaginations, and creativity in order to develop more useful, accurate, and comprehensible models. Several alternatives are offered in order to build the method and harder methodology. Intention methodology, grammar translations, the direct method, audiolingualism, all proceed from the edge of method. You know, an excellent method pretends combining various elements to find those practices which best support effective learning. Method might unite teachers and students. Suggestion on how teachers might identify a good fit method to adopt or to adapt for use in their own teaching. Methods have been criticized for claiming universality of application as well as uniqueness in their individual properties and particular insights. Systematic and principles thinking is used to support a method. What's the purpose? To gain results from the use of method and defend themselves through logical argumentation. What's possible audience? The method appeared to answer shortcomings in comparison to grammar. It originated to explain languages as a target. It should not be used unless the designer has in mind a plan of action and solution for every unfavorable situation that might disclose by the observation. The probability of the method. Observation must be reliable, must reveal the significant phenomenon, and must be reported as to encourage prompt action, prompt solution, whatever. The error in the method. The possibility of progressive failure may introduce a series of elements of uncertainty. Method is born for the emergence of new language from the learners. Advantages of the method. Using a good fit method can help. Pay attention to speaking and interaction between teachers and students. Pay attention to speaking and listening. 2. Describes rules, analogy, comparison, contrast, as whatever. Teachers use a matter of mimic. Full practice. Repetitions becomes a habit because repetition is a matter of the key. Learning language becomes a practice proceed. Take heed to comprehensions of reading and writing. Better relationship between thought and expressions help students in having a good fluency. Teachers proceed from particular to general, from concrete, as I said, the outset, to abstract process. Disadvantages of the method. Instructions are not in native language. The meanings of the ratings are simply gained from translation into native language. You know. Language learned is simply written, literary, not colloquial, a little abduction to one conversation. in normal conversation every day. Little attention to students interaction. There is a potential for exhaustion for the teacher. It can be difficult to measure progress without other students to compare. Lack of individual time for study. The lesson format can become monotonous if teacher lacks self-confidence. Advantages of direct method. It makes the learnings of English interesting and lively by establishing direct bond between the word and meaning. 2. In one activity, the method facilitates awareness of participation. The learned words to be used in conversations. These serve as a strong foundation of further learning. This method makes students to understand what they learn. Fluency of speech appears. Good pronunciation, better pronunciation, and a power of expressions are properly developed. Permit the students acquire the learning by listening, miming, or repeating. Disadvantages of direct method. There are many abstract words which cannot be interpreted directly in English. It covers much time and energy are wasting making attempts for the purpose. This kind of method ignores systematic written work that involves in making hypertext. Sufficient attention is not paid to reading and writing. This method does not hold well in higher classes, where translations method is found suitable. This method does not suit or satisfy the needs of individual students in larger classes. This method provides difficulties because grammar is bound up with the reader. Okay, good news for you. The approach and its definition. The approach is the theory about nature of language that serves as the source and principles in languages. What's the importance of the approach? The approach has become important and challenges technique in modern curriculum because it synthesizes more than one discipline and creates teams of teachers, teams of students that enrich the overall educational experience, exposing the facts, several facts. Many researchers find many advantages as well as disadvantages of the approach. Students have suffered the inferior pedagogy of traditional method that concentrate specifically only one discipline. The approach provides many benefits that develop much needed lifelong learning skills that are essential to students' future learning. Today, approach is a key concept to the advancement of school curriculum at all levels. It has now become debated as the weather. An approach is the best source for curriculum. The approach has been defined as inquiries which quickly draw upon two or more disciplines and which lead to disciplines and parallel to the other. The approach is the teaching of topics for more than one discipline, the subject matter. The approach is the best way for students progress in the classroom. What the relevance of the approach? The approach has been used in many ways at all levels of education. From early childhood to graduate school, interdisciplinary studies are becoming more popular. Teachers use an approach and the other follow the more typical textbook approach closely. For instance, speaking about the approach, TPR, for instance, is the kind of approach that connects activities with natural approach. This helps trigger language acquisitions at the beginning of level. And the natural approach that learners are not forced to use new vocabulary, new words until they feel ready to do that. Natural approach involves audiolingua method, you know. Some authors distinguish two kinds of approaches. They claim that both of these approaches are present in EFL experience learning. Incidental approach, when students learn vocabulary in casual way, there is not deep retention. In consequence, there is not meaningful learning. Intentional approach, when the students learn knowledge in intentional way, there is deep retention. This approach still shows the intentional vocabulary learning. It's more effective for retention. When the students want to apply this intentional approach or have new words, new vocabulary, new expression and sentences, they invest the necessary mental efforts and understand words until they know the meanings. Advantages of the approach. Expanding in students' understanding. Expanding in students' achievement. Enhancing communication skill for social skill. Developing, among other disciplines. Students are not pressured to produce language until they are ready to do that. Focus on vocabulary, in particular in everyday language. Employ engaged activities. Emphasis on the importance of input for learning language. Focus on comprehensions and meaning conversation. Correct, comprehensible input that makes students pay attention and lessons a long period in one single class. Emphasizes meaningful practice activities rather than productions of grammar. Grammar is very important, but spoken grammar, not written grammar, okay? Listen and understand the instructions. Students can contribute to classes more and feel part of the learning process by bringing material inside to the class. They become better learners through this approach. Learners acquire language best through the modified input of the teacher. The teachers adapt or adopt his language to the level of the student. Amount and a type of input can be maximized by the teachers for the benefit of students. Disadvantages of the approach. Confused interactions. It consumes much time for preparation. Best for beginners, but thus seems ineffective for advanced students. Students produce language when they are not ready. Okay? In conclusion, approach produces theories or methods. There are more advantages rather than disadvantages. In the school, the approach to apply is constructivism, and the method to apply is a combination, a several combination of methods. Thank you for joining. Attention.